Hello everyone, welcome back to the Soundwave podcast. Today we're here with...
Hi, Emma. Hello.
Hi, I'm Darren.
David. Twiggy. Yo, yo, yo.
I didn't know you had to do a song. I would have done a song.
Darren, could you just introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, my name's Darren Elliot. I'm from Keswick originally, born and bred, and worked in Whitehaven for a good few years. And the reason I'm here today is because basically I met Twiggy on a course that I was doing one day, and we talked and found out we had quite a bit in common with our musical tastes and things like that. So I said I would come and talk about punk in the late 1970s, 80s in Keswick, really, which was small town stuff, really. For them days, yeah.
Question one.
So from that, do you have a top 3 favourite songs?
I've been thinking about this, and I've got top 300 favourite songs, really. But I would have to say first the band that it wasn't the band that first got me into punk. It was one of the bands that came in the late 70s after the music I'd been listening to for a couple of years, and that was Stiff Little Fingers and a song called Alternative Ulster. Now there was a choice between that and Suspect Device, because it was that song where I'd been kind of looking through squinty eyes when I was a kid, to the point where my eyes kind of just opened and I thought, well, yeah, this is what I love, and that was it. So yeah, one of them two for my first one, which, if I can do that. Another obscure one, which was one me and my mate used to sing in class at school all the time. We used to recite it, and it was one called Spock's Missing by a band called Athletico Spiz. I don't know if anyone's heard of them. Or Spiz Energy, or Athletico Spiz 82. And I never followed Star Trek or anything like that, but it was a song that was kind of the song about Spock's missing, and then further down the line, Spock did go missing in the film, sort of thing. But you could listen to it, but it's a fairly obscure song. And then I would say the other one, can I say another two together? A band that I'd seen a lot in the 70s and 80s with The Damned, and it would be either Curtain Call, which was like a really long 10-minute brilliant, amazing sort of structured song, and then or a song called Ignite, which was off their album in the late 80s, called Strawberries. So yeah, they're my 3 favourites. So The Damned, Stiff Little Fingers, Spiz, them types of bands that I kind of listen to. But I have got favourite songs from all sorts of different music genres and stuff like that.
And The Damned got the first punk single out as well.
Yeah, New Rose. Yeah, and that's something we play in the band as well. Yeah, so so that was reported to be the first ever punk vinyl, wasn't it? Yeah, Punk 45. Have you got it?
No.
No.
So it's probably worth a bob or two now.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. If I had it, I wouldn't have it. I'd have felt it.
Biggest regret in my life was when we moved house from Keswick over towards Penrith. I sold my albums for some reason. Yeah. I had like 70 or 80 original Sex Pistols, everything, all the original albums, you know, from Lou Reed, Velvet Underground, everything, and I had them in a box in the loft. And I went through that thing of just thinking I need to get rid of everything, and I thought, you know, God, they're only old punk albums. LPs will never come back. Yeah. Went down to the local shop in Keswick, like the antique shop, and he said, I'll give you 70 quid for them, and I gave them away, and then I just like, it was just,
wow. Yeah.
I've never linger on that too long, that'll hurt you.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I just feel a little bit sick every time I think about it. Yeah, so
I did something similar a few years ago as well, and it was a lot of earache vinyl, which I'd had for like years.
Yeah.
And the same crack, I was just like, what? I'm never going to get a record player again.
No.
And I flogged it all, and it was going to Portugal, and I was thinking, that's weird. It was all getting, and people from abroad were buying it all, and then you find out it's really
people are looking for it.
Fortune, and now
they're all just hoping that you don't realise what you're doing.
Exactly.
And everyone's buying record players and albums now, aren't they? Going to Virgin and stuff, and it's like full of albums for 40 or 50 quid or something.
Yeah, well, that's what's really annoying, because now my son, he's 18, and he's mad into getting vinyl, and everywhere I go, I'm vinyl shopping again on his behalf.
Well, there's a shop in...
It's expensive.
Where did we go? And there's a fella got an old shop, and it's just like when you used to go to Brooks in Keswick, because we have Brooks here, don't we? And you used to sit there at dinner time when you'd nicked off school to sort of flick through all the albums. Yeah. But I mean, the thing, to be honest, that I regret the most wasn't the records, it was the sleeves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I built myself a shed through COVID, and I've adorned it with like photos and things, and I just wish I'd had all my album covers too. There's some brilliant artwork back in the day.
Absolutely. And they say that about the inside sleeve notes and things which you don't get on Spotify. You put a song on or a record, that's all you get. But you used to like
the posters and
and you used to knew where it had been recorded and all this kind of stuff. But you don't know any of that now. It's all gone.
No, it was brilliant stuff.
It just is. It's having a large droopy moment.
It's off again.
I've just got the worst stand. I think
it's gone a bit performance shy.
So you don't want to happen in the middle of a gig, innit? Unless you got a roadie to run out.
That's all right. Okay, so I mean, you mentioned you're from Keswick. So, what was being a punk like in Keswick?
It was mad. It was it was brilliant in a way. Like I said, when I first sort of heard SLF, and after we'd kind of. The earliest memories I had of punk was sort of Sid Vicious dying and stuff like that, so it's kind of at the end of the Pistols, because I was probably 13, 14 or something, and a group of lads, friends had come back from Germany. They were boarders, and they came back to Keswick, and they were into punk, so I kind of got into it then. But it was mad, you know. We lived in a flat, and at 16, I had my first haircut, and I went down straight to Frank Lee's, which was the I think he's dead now, which was a local barber's. And when I was about 13 or 14, I said, "Will you just chop my hair off?" And I had really big curly hair, and I just went and he shaved it all off. And I mean, you wouldn't believe it now, but I'd gone home to me mum and sister standing in the kitchen window, and I had a Parker jacket with the hood up like this, and I kind of I went to the window and I just dropped my hood, and I'll never forget, they were both standing with cups of coffee, and they both went and spat the coffee all over the window, and because it was just mad to get your hair shaved off at that time, you know. So and then we ended up in a flat when I was about 15, 16, because one of my mates gave me Mohican. He just got a cutthroat razor and shaved all my hair off, and I had this Mohican. And I went home to Mum and Dad's. My dad was a forester in Winlatter, and he came back at night, looked at me through the back window, and his face went red, and he went, "Absolutely," because you know, it was like his mates and what they're going to say now, you know, it was, you know, what people are going to think of you, and he raced through the back door, and I raced out the living room, and we just literally met at the middle door, and I got out just when he had it on the back of my neck, pulled my jacket away, ran out off the street. He ran out shouting, "I'll bloody kill you!" And I kind of, it wasn't like leaving home and being chucked out, but I didn't. I went and lived with my mates up the road in a flat, and Mum was heartbroken, and Dad was like, "Oh, you know, come back," and I was like, because he was embarrassed, you know, he was kind of But walking down Keswick in like the late 70s, early 80s with a Mohican was just brilliant, because it had happened in London, but it hadn't happened in Keswick, and it was kind of it was like having it all over again, because people were just absolutely shocked and like,
oh my gosh. So when you're walking down Keswick Street, bother boots on, leather jacket, Mohican,
bum flap, I had
and you walk into
bondage
the pub,
pants.
what would people say to you?
Well, you got chucked out.
Oh, they wouldn't even let you in?
No, you got chucked out of a lot of pubs. And that's why it was so unique in a small place like Keswick. And I'm sure other people have got stories of all the other little towns, you know, like Claytonmere, and there was some great bands from all over, really, going through the same thing. But because you knew people and you'd grown up in the same towns, and, you know, 5,000 people in Keswick, so you knew everyone, and you knew the people that worked behind the bars, and you would go in and they would go, "You can't come in," and you go, "Oh, come on, give us a break." Why not? Well, because of the way you're dressed and your hair, and you got a belt on, studs in your jacket, and it was like, well, yeah, but it's me. And it's like, no, but you can't go, you know. So it was weird. It was really, really strange. So there was a couple of pubs that would kind of let us in, because there was a few of it, like, you know, only a handful, 6 or 7 or something. But they would let you in and give you a drink when you were underage. So there was pubs, a couple of pubs you could go in, but other pubs, you know, you just weren't allowed in because of the way you looked, or your haircut, or what they used to say, your attitude and stuff like that. But, you know, I was no different to what I am now. I just had different clothes on.
Just
really.
the dress.
But it was very, very, different from now. You know, I mean, you couldn't kind of different in a way as well, because in the city, because we used to go down to a place called Harper in Manchester, and with a band that we followed in Keswick, Third Party. They were a punk band in Keswick, and they went down to Manchester to sort of find fame and fortune and all that sort of thing. And going down there was very different, because they were like in groups, and if you're walking down Manchester with a Mohican, you'd probably get your head kicked in by a group of skinheads or rockers or bikers or whatever, and it was quite tribal in that way. But in Keswick, the rockers had gone to school with the punks, and the punks had gone to school with the bikers and the bike, you know. So we all kind of knew each other. So it was a bit different, really. So it was like a big group of alternative people, which was it was really good. And it was really creative, and we had a lot of parties down by the lakes and things like that. And the kids that came from Harper in Manchester, they were just like, it was alien, you know. It was like as much as going down there for us. And being on the big council estates that were just mad, you know, police running everywhere, bricks through windows and stuff like that. When they came to Keswick, it was just the same for them, but in a completely different way. They were like, oh, you know, why is he saying hello to me? And, you know, what's that over there? And it was a sheep, you know, and it was stuff like that. And it was, and they didn't get it, and they didn't like it in some ways, because it was just too chill. Yeah, too chill, too nice. I think they were paranoid, really, by a lot of stuff. It was kind of like, you know, why is everything so nice and so right? Yeah, it was weird.
And I mean, I'm just trying to think back there, because I'm thinking of Keswick now. Like if you went today, or at the weekend, for instance, how busy it is now, and how many tourists there are. Like, was that the same then as well? Was that
no, it wasn't. No, it was quiet. It's quiet in the winters. Were dead. So from the end of the sort of season, which would be, I don't know, through the summer to between, because Christmas wasn't even busy in Keswick then.
Right.
So yeah, probably the summer season to the spring or whatever was just dead. Right. I mean, you could walk down Keswick Main Street and there wasn't anyone there, you know. So, and trying to find things to do was quite hard. But yeah, it was a completely different place.
Right.
But then that's how places evolve, isn't it? And that's
well, that's it, isn't it?
It was always going to be one of those places that you can't kind of say, well, we'll have so. This is getting all back into tourism and stuff, but you can't say we'll have so much, but then we'll stop there and we won't have any more. It kind of evolves and they become different places, don't they?
Yeah, they do, or you don't.
Yeah, and maybe it's a romantic view that I had of what it was like then, because we kind of made up our own kind of futures and stuff like that, and we went and had parties and played music and you know, down by the lake as opposed to on a council estate sort of thing. So it was kind of. But
that's a fairly punk thing to do, anyways, isn't it? Where you
don't expect it.
You just go off and like have a fire and you know, but the background's like bells in a lake rather than you.
And there was. The reason it kind of kicked off in Keswick in some respects, and I left school and I went to work at the theatre, which was the Blue Box Theatre. Now, you know, was the Blue Box Theatre then, you know, the big theatre they've got now. It was called the Blue Box, and it was a travelling theatre, but they brought it to Keswick and they made it static. And my first job was a youth opportunities scheme job at the theatre, doing welding and stuff like that for the stage. So it was like a stage hand thing, and I think that's what first got me into, like, you know, just meeting those type of people. And there was a fella came from Leeds area around that way, and he was a music producer, but he was an actor, and he acted in some of the plays around that time when I was there. And he brought people with him, bands, and that was the start of Chumbawambas and the Not Sensibles and things like that, because he was managing those bands, so they came to Keswick. Right. And at that time in Keswick, because it was so quiet, the only places to work, I suppose, quite similar now, were the hotels. So you got a lot of people, diverse people, coming to work in the hotels for seasons. So you had loads of really, really different folk. It wasn't just your kind of local. So there was a lot of different little melting pots and people doing stuff. And awesome. So I worked at theatre, and we got a gig, like quite a. If ever I say famous, I don't mean famous in the world. I mean famous in Keswick or around the areas. But do you know a lad called Sean McGee?
Yeah.
Well, Sean had a band called Psycho Faction, and we did a we made a concert to raise money to build a new theatre. It was the first time it'd ever been like a fundraiser. So we got together in the pub, and I was building then. So we got loads of planks from work, and we built a stage outside the front of the theatre. And a band came through, this lad at the theatre called How My Hair's on Fire, which was the start of Chumbawambas. There was Psycho Faction, there was the Not Sensibles, there was Third Party, or a band from Keswick, Alan, Andrew and Brad, and we put this gig on, and we had flamethrowers and like all sorts. I mean, not people that could flamethrow. I'm not joking. I was like a friend of ours, Jane, and she just and Azzy, this lad from Wales who was a really good mate, said, "Oh yeah, we'll flamethrow." So it was just like they just got some. I don't know what it was, and they just swallowed it and went, and like their hair was. Oh
my God!
Yeah, it was mad. And so we put this amazing gig on. I've got some pictures of it somewhere. I'm sure there'll be pictures around. But ironically, they could hear. Do you know, Kessie? Do you know Latrick? Mm-hmm. Someone could hear it on top of Latrick. They could hear every word going down, and it wasn't like it was proper mad punk music in them days, like Psycho Faction. And they sent the police down. So the police came down and, you can't really play loud music. And it was like, well, it's a benefit gig for the theatre, and they were trying to pull the plug out, and we were trying to put it back in.
No.
And it was, that's what made it kind of special in that sort of place, really. So it was, and it was, it turned into a bit of a mess at the end. But it was stuff like that. There was people there to create these things and like create this stuff. Then we had a few more benefit gigs around Keswick and that in the little village halls. Again, Chumbas, when they'd formed, they came back and they did some great little gigs in like Braithwaite Village Hall. They did my birthday party at Bassenthwaite Village Hall. And the one that kind of links this was a gig that the Not Sensibles came to do in 1981 at the Braithwaite Institute. With the Not Sensibles, Distortion. Can you remember them?
Aye.
Yeah, Distortion.
Yeah, from Aspertia.
From Aspertia. And Third Party, I think, a band from Keswick. And it was just a brilliant gig, and there was all the people that you wanted to be there were there. It's like you've got your gang, and everyone that night was there at this place, and it was just brilliant. And it wasn't just full of punks; it was full of the Bassenthwaite hippies and the bikers and the rockers and it was people just wanted to come and have a good time, and that was a nice thing. Whereas I think if it had been the city, there might have only been punks there. If that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
But we've always kept that circle, but we've all split off and done our own things and gone our own ways through life and stuff like that. And I'm 60 now, so it's kind of a long time since we've. So that was the idea of this small town punk thing a couple of years ago, or a year or so ago, just to do a benefit gig. It was for the air ambulance and the firefighters charity, and to kind of recreate it. And I kind of thought, could I and would people want to come? So I got in touch with Sage from the Not Sensibles, and he said, yeah, we'd love to. And I was like, oh, all right. So our band played, and then Buff Wally from Chumbawambas, he said, oh yeah, I'll come up and kind of do something. And so we had this night, and it just worked. Just all the people that were there on the first, it kind of gives you a little bit. They all came back that night, and it was just like.
And where did you have it at?
Braithwaite Village Hall, because that's where it was originally. It was the original pounds were £1 to get in. I think I've got a picture of one of the old tickets as well. So it's kind of to create that sort of thing, to kind of bring it all back, and it worked. So I'd like to do it again at some point.
So wonderful to see.
It's awesome that it worked again, because sometimes them things, everyone's got this like amazing nostalgic thing about something that happened, and then when you try to recreate it like years later, you're just like, what?
And that was the thing really was thinking. Will at the last minute people go, I can't be bothered with that, and I don't, I'm not bothered about going, or because you get things where people go, because I saw people through the year, and I was going, you coming? Yeah, of course I'll be there. And I thought, they'll probably get to night and they probably won't come, but they did, and everyone turned up, and
Brilliant.
And it was, and we raised about, I think it was about £2,500 quid for
that's
ambulance
brilliant
and stuff like that, which was really good.
That is really the power of like punk and community, raising money for great causes and bringing people together.
And I think that was a misconception of people back in them days, is that punk came from Rock Against Racism and all that sort of thing. It wasn't, there was parts of it that were aggressive, and my story, I was just looking back on it, I think I was just an angry kid waiting for something to kind of let everything out, because it was, but I won't talk about that. But it was people that were, Buff Wally, when he sent this video he sent for us to play on the night as well, before he decided to come, it basically said that we kind of kept in a group, and we kind of learned to look after each other and kind of learned to look after watch out for each other, and it was like a really close-knit kind of group of people, and we kind of and it was just nice. It was really nice, but it was really nice people who were kind of I suppose it just looked a bit like Buff's belligerent and a bit kind of and sort of snarly and stuff like that.
Yeah, people have so many misconceptions, don't they? And connotations of where people dress and stuff. It's like it's been there forever, hasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think if you hold up that community, like you're saying, Twiggy, if you hold that community up against any other, for any other walk of life, it's like, it's a really strong, wholesome community. They like, that's it. It's the misconception of looking at it and going studs and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, some really clever people, really clever, creative people that have gone on to do mad things. I know a few people in my job that were punks in the past, and it's led into that sort of type of services sort of thing, and then creative television people and people who've gone into doing big things. Like there's a lad in Keswick, Ben Chalice, was the lawyer for Glastonbury, and he was he had a punk band in the 80s, the Ignorance and all that sort of stuff, and they're just they're creative people, really. And they came together and did a lot of stuff like that. I think that's still going. I think we're kind of maybe not as, we don't all walk around in bum flaps and
I think the thing that happened though with punk and where it is now is inevitably, like anything else, it did become like, it has got this like really strong commercial element to it now.
Gentrified.
A lot of like that American kind of influence on it and everything, and it's all like, there's a lot of money attached to it, so some of that original message, I guess, and kind of got diluted a little bit and forgot about, but it's like, it's still there, and then people are still there, still doing it.
It's a hard one, isn't it? It's really hard, because you can't, I suppose, maintain that over your life, because when you get into you've got to do something. You can't let things hold you back by doing things sometimes. I think if it probably still affects if I'd kept a Mohican and wore a kilt and wore bondage pants, I probably wouldn't have got the jobs and the things and stuff like that. Because then, when if you had a tattoo on your arm, because we didn't have like massive tattoos, like body art, it was like little ones you'd done at school with a cross on your arm or an anarchy sign or so, and that was it. But if you went for a job, and I know you probably remember, if you had tattoos like that, you were kind of, we've been to Boston or something. It's kind of, it was a preconception, and it was. Whereas now tattoos, the higher, the bigger you are and the more popular you are, the more tattoo, you can wear what you want, kind of, which is brilliant. It's really good that it's like that. But things could hold you back as well. Definitely. And I suppose you've got to kind of move with it, haven't you, really? And I get why, people still stick with that fashion and stuff like that and the way it was, because that changed, didn't it? I mean, the Pistols came out, then like John Lydon got all uppity about people going with Mohicans and stuff like that, because he said, that's not the point. But it was, it's what people like doing. It was expressing yourself, and it was just another badge, wasn't it, or something. So.
He just likes to whinge about everything, him though.
But walking down,
beans.
I went to see him at thingy, because I wanted to. I saw him at Glastonbury playing it with Pill, and that was brilliant. But then I went to see his stand-up.
Okay. I think it's going to work, isn't it?
It's interesting, but I don't think I would go again, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it was great walking down Keswick Main Street in 79-80 with a pair of black bondage pants, a grey kilt, and a bum flap, and
snapping legs.
It was good fun. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So what's next then, Darren? What's coming up in the future? You say you're in a band.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of bands. This one is kind of going. Matthew, who's our Matthew Dowden, who's our guitarist and singer. He's just at Workington, but he's always been really creative. He's got a great setup in his loft room in his house, and we just go up there, and it's just like this. You just pick the guitars up and play, and it's like really loud. And I met Matthew when he was about 15 or 16, and we had a little band, just a go at doing a band and things like that. Then I've always kind of followed him through and he went to. He's always stayed with music and always he play anything. He plays that zither thing and drums and bass and guitar and everything like that. So he's really good. And then a lad from work plays bass with us, and another lad from Keswick plays drums. And we just play we play a couple of our own, but we play mostly like covers and stuff like that. Really, like punk covers from the 70s and 80s, and we're called Band from the Pubs. But not B-A-N-N-E-D, but B-A-N-D. And that was through that gig at Keswick, the Not Sensibles gig. I think it was Distortion, because it's in a punk anthology book or so, a punk memory book or something. I've got it at home, and it was Distortion writing about that night in Keswick when they came, and they because Braithwaite only had one pub then, they kind of, come on, we'll go to the pub. They went and they got banned from their pub. And it says in his book, we went to the only pub in the village, and the banders, because as soon as they walked in, they went, "You're banned!"
Oh, no.
Because they had a studded belt or a leather jacket or a haircut or whatever. So you kind of, you got banned straight away. So we called
that. Must follow them about, because I once played with Distortion at Monroe's bar in Working, and I think they got banned before they played there that night as well. I think we all did.
It was your band, but
at the time it was Skin Drill, I think it was called, and we were opening for them. All Low Life. I can't remember which one it was.
And there was three bands I always remember: Psychofaction, Distortion, Third Party from Keswick, and they all kind of nearly got there, didn't they? Because Third Party had a few tapes in them days. It was
that's right.
It was tapes, yeah. But with the band, we don't do much. We've got have you heard of the Lawton Fest at Lawton? They do like a beer festival in the.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
There's a lad called Mark Cockburn owns it, and they do a festival every year. So we're going to play there on the Saturday night this year, and then we're doing one around Clayton Moore at a mate's. He has a bit of land and he's doing a little bit of festivals.
Okay.
So we don't do a lot. It's more like hobby-wise things nowadays, really.
Okay, great.
But if you want to play as a Glastonbury and anyone's listening,
which is your favourite cover to play then?
Actually, at the moment, probably Band from the Pubs. It's such a thrashy, really quick. But we've been doing a bit of Green Day as well. We've done Holiday, which I kind of really like, because that's kind of goes back to a lot of the SLF kind of riffs and stuff like that in Green Day, aren't they? Really, so
definitely.
I kind of like that. Probably Band from the Pubs, to be honest. But we do a few Fingers songs, and do New Rose, stuff like that. Yeah. So, but we try and do songs that maybe a little bit like Band from the Pubs, which isn't what everyone does when they do covers, really. So.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know if we get away with it.
I want to play the songs that you like.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's good. Yeah.
And so now you're, apart from doing that, you're a fireman.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of get to being a fireman from?
Was that from your?
Now this is a really long
fire
story.
starters?
I've got time. I've got time for a long story. Yeah. Well, I think that because I think it's really relevant to punk, and I think it's really relevant to my journey through my life into what I do now. Because when I was about 8, my grandparents in Keswick died sort of quite quickly overnight through a carbon monoxide incident, and they both died just there and then overnight. And I was really, really close to them, really sort of connected to them as a grandparent. I have a little grandson now, and he's only 3, but I'm so connected to him. So I kind of think, we stayed at their house all the time. We spent time, went camping. We went to Scotland, everything. And I lost them really. We all did. My brother and sister were older. My mum was, just absolutely devastated. The family sort of went. But I was never kind of really. Well, I didn't know this till later, but I think I'd held something in there that was really trying to burst out. And I know this all sounds a bit, but it came out later when I was doing a thing with the fire service, like a counselling thing. We were doing a mental first aid at work thing. Oh, yeah. And they gave me someone to sit in and just do this little bit of counselling practice. So they gave me this young lad that hadn't done any before, and I went into this room, which was in the station at Keswick, near to where my grandparents died. And the lass that was doing it said, look, Darren, you think of something that's a bit emotive. And this other lad who wasn't there she said to him, you have a go at counselling Darren and tell him. So I mentioned my grandparents, and just flipping heck, it just went boom, and just all came out. And I was in absolute tears, and I said, and just at that moment I said it's because I wasn't allowed to go at the funeral, because my mum and dad wouldn't let me go at the funeral, but all my brother, sister, everyone else did. And I think I just thought that was such an unfair thing. And I think I held that in me for 4 or 5 years, and I was angry. I was like, a bit disjointed and stuff like that at school and stuff. And then I heard Stiff Little Fingers, and I just went, and that's when that eye-opening moment came, and I was just like, flipping heck, this is... And I did let the anger out then, and I was probably belligerent and snarly, and went down the street flicking V's at people and stuff like that, because I just found this place to let it all out. So I think that's why one of the reasons I got into punk in that respect. Right. And I went through sort of, like that bit. I think it gave me a bit of confidence, because, like, say, walking down Keswick High Street the more you can. I used to go down to London a bit, and when you went down to London, coppers would insult you, like, you dirty bloody punk, and all this sort of thing. So everyone was against you, and I think it gave you a bit of confidence. I used to think, yeah, sod it, I'll walk down the street like I'm not bothered, and I kind of got a bit swanky and stuff like that. And then that gave me the kind of confidence to go off, and I travelled. I went off on my own. I went and lived in different places, and went to London for a few years, and Cambridge, and went to Italy for a while. And I kind of made these rash decisions. One day I went, I think I'll go and do that, and I kind of went and did it, and had the confidence to do it. So I think that was giving me confidence and let me be like really individual. And then I worked in a place in London as a security guard, and one of the window dressers in the shop, I told you it was long voluted. One of the window dressers in the shop, one day we were sitting having a coffee, and she said, "You're going to be a paramedic one day." And I went, "No," and I just did not have that in my head at all, to be a paramedic. I thought, no, that's not what I'm going to do, really. I had worked in a mortuary before for a few months in Cambridge, but apart from that, I'd never been sort of near hospitals or anything. So forgot about that. Came back to Keswick in the early 90s. Went to live in Borrowdale with my first wife in Rossway, a tiny little village up in Borrowdale Valley. Nice, yeah. The lad lived next door was on the mountain rescue, and there was a light up on the fell that was flashing like SOS. So I went next door and I said, "Oh, Pete, there's..." And he went, "Oh, do you want to come with us and we'll go and kind of go up and get them?" So I chucked a jacket on, and it was really windy, bad night. We went up and got this lad off the fell, and I kind of thought, "Oh, great." And he said, "Oh, do you want to come to practices and stuff like that?" So I said, yeah, I like climbing. I'd like to have a go at climbing. So I ended up going every Wednesday with this lad and the mountain rescue in Keswick for a year. And then before I knew it, I'd kind of passed he went, "Oh, you've done your probation now." He says, "Do you want to join?" So I went, yeah, I will. So I kind of joined the mountain rescue, and then after about four years, I think, I'd been in there 4 or 5 years, a lad in Keswick, Keith, my mate, came up and said, "Oh, why don't you join the fire service? It's retained, but you get paid." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I can." And it was just so weird because thinking back to when she said that, I'd kind of just gone through this.
Why do you think she said that to you?
I don't know. She was a bit of a kind of.
Yeah.
She was a little bit of a medium kind of type of sort of woman.
Right. Okay.
She was. I mean, she'll be dead now. I mean, this is going back late 80s, and she'd be, or mid late 80s, and she'll have been 60 or 70 then. So.
Right.
She was a proper old East End, like loads of makeup and like long, like really glamorous. But,
right.
Like, wow. But yeah, and then I went into the return service, and then I went into. To join the regulars as an instructor. So then I started with the regulars in 2012 and became an instructor. Now work at L&D, the learning department, Penrith. And just kind of before I knew, I kind of one day I stopped and I thought, wow, that's really weird because I haven't thought about it all the way through. And I'm here now. And she said, no, it's not. Yeah. It's not a paramedic, but it was like the nearest thing to doing it, sort of thing. And I thought. Well, yeah, I've gone through that without even thinking about what she said, and now I've actually got it. She was right when she first. Wow. So yeah, it's strange, really, in that way. But I kind of think that whole thing about confidence, about being a bit shouting above the noise, famous song by Vice Squad, and just shouting above people sometimes, and putting your head above the parapet, and not being too worried about being different and having a voice and stuff like that has got me to. So I think it had a massive amount to do with punk where I am now. Yeah. And I think a lot of the people I kind of that I know that again in the service and other people that have got there, I think it's similar for them. That it's kind of been that journey that they've just it's given them that confidence and that diversity and stuff like that to be, and you need that in everything, all services and all jobs. You need someone that's kind of going to be a bit more off the track and not just straight down the line. So I kind of so it's all. And
you're in a role the way you're protecting people and caring for people and looking at
I've really enjoyed that. Yeah, and I think that again from what Boff said on the original thing about us looking after each other.
Yeah.
I think that had a lot. Absolutely. It just bled into all that. So yeah. I got a job where I was, and I think again, the risk sort of side of it, being brought up in Keswick and going down the lake and being mad and climbing foot up trees and and dangling off them and stuff like that gave me that sort of that risk thing. Yeah, so I kind of had everything sort of roll, and I think. You've got to kind of, I think sometimes kids nowadays don't see that journey because it's a long journey. It doesn't happen overnight, does it? It doesn't. You don't get there overnight. And my daughter Annie will always say, flipping heck, nothing seems to be happening. I seem to be stuck in it, and I don't think really life started happening for me till I was about 40, and I started thinking, I've got something here. I can like really do this, and I can. It's a job, and I can get my teeth stuck into. But a work ethic as well. And I know people would like to think that all punks were anti-establishment, didn't want to work, wanted to be on the dole, wanted to go and drink all that. I always had a work ethic. I don't think I was ever out of work. I was always building or doing something wherever I went to. I always had a job. I always worked. So I think I think it just put loads of little pieces into a box that became. Box.
It's really inspiring as well because you've got the confidence, as you say, from all the experiences being a punk, standing out, having that voice for marginalised people who don't have a voice, and also the community interaction where you're, it sounds like you're really motivated and driven to support positive change, and that's what punk is all about. It's it's destroying the status quo and what's not working and rebuilding it. That's gonna support it in the long way.
And stuff like that. It's really relevant in kind of what I do now. With stopping and thinking, right, this isn't working. That's a big thing in the fire service. If we get to like decision making of like, right, let's stop this. It's not working. It's not. We're not doing the right thing. We need to stop and think and go off in a different direction, and that's kind of what life's about. You've got to have that sort of mentality where you're willing to stop and think, right, this isn't going right. What do I do now? Because you can't just stop, can you? You've got to move on. You've got to do something. It's not an option just to stop and stand still and go, you know. I know that's easier said than done.
It's funny you say about not being a paramedic, yet we met through you delivering a very paramedic-esque scenario. Which I will say as well was the best first aid course I've ever been on. It was brilliant.
Well, that's my role now within the fire services, looking after the sort of trauma side of things as well, which I kind of think again. When I go back to that first thing, and I'm kind of, and I did ride the ambulance the other day with one of the lads from Penrith, so I've got there in a little way, so she was kind of right, really. I
think that's the most accurate medium's thing that I have ever heard, actually. Normally,
because I wondered whether she'd said it to you because she'd seen your nature or something, or the way you were with people. You said she was like quite a bit. Like,
I didn't really. I mean, I'd spoken to her a few times. Because we sat and had coffee at in this. It was a funny job, that, because it was in C&A's in Ilford in the East, just outside the East End of London. We lived in the East End. And it was a brilliant job because they had the store detective. I left the job because I just thought, do I want to do this job? It was horrible. It was like catching people for, because they were poor and they were nicking things. Right. And I was kind of expected to chase after them and grab them by the thing and drag them in and chuck them in jail and so on. I kind of left after a while. But it was this little store, C&A's in Ilford, and there was a store detective who went between two shops, but she was the same person. She just put a different hat on every day, and the little scroats that used to come in and nick stuff kind of knew who she was, but she thought they didn't. So she was like walking around hiding behind things. They were all going, yeah, she's. But then I used to go. This last was a window dress. This woman, sorry, and she we used to meet and have coffee in the kitchen every, for a couple of months. So I would talk to her. It wasn't like she didn't know me, but I would talk. So I don't know if it was my nature or what, I don't know. But it was
really cool.
It was good. Yeah. I was trying to think of some bullet points that I'd put on my notes that I could kind of just chuck in quickly for you. But I mean, Keswick as well. Looking back at, we had some mad times as well, because we had remember the mods came and like. Can you remember? You'll never remember that one.
Do you know what is interesting about that? That was a fact that was up. It was a few years ago in the theatre. In the theatre now, though, we had like some old pictures of the blue box and that up, and they had the scooter riot, which I had never heard about. Well,
that's when I was working there. We had the Hells Angels came about a few months later, and they tore the town to bits. But we had just had this one night where 1,500 mods turned up in Keswick, and where the theatre by the Lake car park is.
Oh wow!
They just camped. They just set up camp there, but then it just went mad. It was like Mad Max. They started setting fire to everything.
Oh my word!
The pubs, the convention. The convention, Keswick Convention. The religious thing. But they had stalls all around the back street, so they were setting fire to them. They were setting fire to people's bikes. There was the bikers in Keswick were fighting with them, and it was just mental. And when you went down to the theatre, I can remember Andrew Wilson, Alan Hodson and Brad, who were in third party of the band, they and Richard, my best mate then, they went down to pick an amp up from the theatre because it was the band's amp, and it was a Marshall or something like that. But they had to ride past this camp of 1,500 mods, these 4 punks on bikes. Really slowly going past this Mad Max kind of scene, which it was, because there were just 1,500 camped with campfires going and all screaming, shouting and throwing stuff and trying to burn the theatre down, and the set fire to Tom, who was he looked after the theatre at that time, lived in a caravan next to it, and they burnt that down. It had this absolutely amazing, not my time, but New Seekers. He was a New Seekers fan or something, and he had every single album from, and it was worth an absolute fortune. They just torched it all, they just burnt it. So it was mad. Then the Hells Angels came a few weeks later. That's probably just one of those towns that people wanted to come and wreck. And they were tying people up, barmen up in the pubs. They tied one barman up behind the bar and just helped themselves to drink.
Oh my gosh!
They were going down the we were stood outside the George pub, and one came up on his bike straight through a shop window.
No way.
Yeah, the bike handlebars bent. He went into the shop, and they couldn't get him back out with his bike. He wouldn't let them touch his bike. He had a boot on. He snapped his leg, and he wouldn't let him touch it. They were riding down Keswick with axes on the backs and crossbows and stuff like that.
It's like the least, it's like the least Keswick thing you'd think now.
Imagine that happening.
Yeah. I can't say a Crass gig in Claytonmere. I don't know if you ever remember that. Crass played in Claytonmere, and that was a bit of a mad do. There was one at Carlisle, a mad.
Oh wow.
A mad gig. I can never remember if it was Exploited or with Poison Girls, something like that, and a load of like skinheads came from Glasgow or somewhere, I think. And skinheads and punks didn't get on then. So at the end of the night, there was this division of punks on one side of the concert hall, skinheads on the other, and they were coming into the middle like kangaroos and boxing each other and then going to the side, and then it was just all mad. And then the police would let people out in dribs and drabs. There was some really iconic sort of gigs that people could remember, maybe not for the right reasons, but I mean, and stuff like that. Yeah, it was mental.
I think it's what Keswick needs now, really. Needs a bit more of that, doesn't it?
Keswick is pretty much Patagonia jackets and alt lattes.
Yeah.
I mean, the wildest thing that's happening now is someone's chihuahua gets off. Runs down the street.
There's not much rock and roll.
Who are we going to do a call out to summon a riot in Keswick?
No, please don't.
No, I don't.
We are not endorsing that behaviour.
Yeah, absolutely not.
The hipsters, bring them.
But it was a different place, yeah, and it was kind of full of different people and diverse people and stuff like that, and and I had actually at that gig I had a slideshow of all the pictures from like there was pictures of Psychofaction and us as punks and different people around the times and hippies.
I would love to see these pictures.
I would,
somewhere.
Yeah.
I really
I'd
would.
show them on there.
Yeah, it would be nice to have them displayed somewhere though.
Yeah,
get them printed off.
Yeah, well, I mean, you
Lovely.
could maybe ask other people, like Sean. I mean, I know Sean. Sean had a link to someone else that had pictures back from the day, and there's someone around Penrith that had pictures back from the day. So.
There's also someone at Carlisle runs a website. It's really interesting, actually.
Right.
It's got all kinds on, and Andy Semple. Andy Semple's like leader of the council's board or something now, but he played in. Oh God, I can't remember his name of his band now. But like last year, some Hollywood producer aired his song. Yeah. They played at Carlisle.
Oh, I think I.
And he ended up using it on this soundtrack,
and
he's give us some of his. He got some royalties. They got royalties out of it. They gave them to Soundwave, but
more than you get off Spotify. It's okay.
I don't know how the guy picked it up. We'd have to talk to Andy about it, but but Andy's. Oh God, what were the calls? That's gone. See, this is it when you get to our.
Right, it is. I know. and when I think of all this stuff I've got written down here, I kind of think sometimes. Is it in the right order? Is it in the right place? Is it in, did I remember it exactly in that right year? Was it? Because sometimes I'll go, I remember so, and it's the right thing, but they'll go, no, that wasn't then, that was... Stiff Little Fingers saw them first time at Carlisle in 1981, I think it was. And the Carlisle Market Hall was brilliant for gigs. You know where TK Maxx and that is now? That was the Market Hall, and that was just a massive open...
Wow.
And there was, I think, saw UK Subs, The Undertones, Stiff Little Fingers... Motorhead played there. I think there was
Louise went and seen the Smiths there.
Finnersy, brilliant bands.
Wow.
But even Carlisle was a big city to us in Keswick then. It was kind of,
Darren, that sounds like a really nice place to wind that up. And thank you very much for that. That was like
awesome
an amazing,
really inspiring.
I'm sorry if I've whinged on.
No, it's been brilliant.
Yeah,
welcome,
sharing.
It's
been nice. It's been lovely to come and chat.
Really awesome.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.